The Big Ten basketball title race is heating up as we just had Illinois take down Nebraska this weekend. We're going to talk about the entire title race and everything else that's going on, but we're going to focus in on Illinois first, as Illinois did get a huge win over Nebraska, and the Fighting Illini look like one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country right now. I think Bart Torvik has had them as the number one team in the country for some time now. They're top 5 in KenPom last time I checked. They're probably a little bit higher maybe after this game, but right now they are tied atop the Big Ten standings with Michigan. Michigan is 20-1, 10-1 on the season. The Big Ten, Illinois 19-3, 10-1, and then second, or tied for third, I guess, behind them is Nebraska and Michigan State, both 9-2 in the conference, and then tied for fifth is Purdue and actually Wisconsin, who they're both 8-3 in the conference. Now Purdue obviously has the better overall record, 18-4. Wisconsin is 16-6, but right now they are tied in the conference. Now I have not seen FanDuel post any new conference odds for the Big Ten. I think Iowa is still playing at the time of us recording this, so I don't think we'll get any new Big Ten odds or anything like that. But I want to start with Illinois because Illinois got a huge win over Nebraska at Nebraska, and it was a fantastic game. Keaton Wagler played out of his mind in the second half. He did not play all that well in the first half. You could tell Nebraska was doing a whole lot to try and disrupt him. They were getting physical with him. They were putting him in bad situations, and Keaton is a very poised freshman, right? He is a true freshman who is like ranked in like the outside the top 200, I think by 24/7. A lot of these different places did not have him very high. But Brad Underwood and Tyler Underwood, his son, who's the offensive guy there for Illinois, actually found him and said, we think he can be really special. Well, they brought him in, and they're exactly right. He is an incredible player. He's incredibly special. And one of the things that he is able to do, as well as this entire Illini team, is they don't foul a whole lot. They get really good shots. The ball movement on this offense right now has been spectacular. And one of the best things about them is, they still shoot a lot of three-pointers, but the difference from this year and last year is on those three-pointers, they have Tomislav Visic and Zvonimir Visic and David Mirkovic, who are all tenacious rebounders, maybe not so much Big Z, but he's really tall, but who are all really good rebounders who are going after those balls and getting a lot of offensive rebounds for their team. In that Washington game, they out second chance points, probably not a term there, but they out second chance pointed Washington by like over 20 points. I think it was 24-6. They had that many second chance points to Washington. It was insane. But that's what this Illinois team has been this season. Really good defense. They brought in Crocker from Colgate, I believe it was. He's done a great job with this defense. Their length is incredible, really gives teams a hard time. And Nebraska today was not hardly able to score in the paint because of everybody who's so long. It's easy to say, well, it's because of Tomislav Visic and Zvonimir Visic because they play those two guys who are over 7 feet tall. They do, but they're also getting incredible defensive contributions from guys like Andrej Stojakovic right now. Guys like Jake Davis, who made an incredible block today. Ben Hummerkaus, who made a really nice block against Washington as well. And you're seeing these guys play with a whole lot more confidence than you have in a long time, right? So this team does have a bit of a weakness with if the three-point shots aren't falling and they're not getting offensive rebounds, then that can be a way that they lose, right? But this team without Kylan Boswell on the floor has been spectacular. And that's not to say Kylan Boswell won't be good when he comes back. He will. He will be very good for this defense. But this offense has just completely come alive ever since they gave the ball to Keaton Wagler and said, go work. So right now, Illinois, they're tied for fifth in national championship odds on FanDuel right now, plus 1,500. I think they're tied with Florida right now. Michigan is the only team with better odds over them. But, 11 straight wins. This looks like one of the best teams in the country. I was just talking about the Michigan State game, saying Michigan, looks like one of the best teams in the country. They might be my pick to win the national championship. Arizona's in there as well. Don't get me wrong, but Illinois is right up there too. And that's one of the biggest in the end game adjustments this season by Brad Underwood have been fantastic too. And in that game against Nebraska, the way he was able to adjust and his players were able to adjust, it was giving Nebraska fits because of everything they were able to do. So this Illinois team has been spectacular. This Nebraska team, Fred Hoiberg, he's going to be coach of the year most likely. He's a really good coach as well. It's unfortunate for them. Ranked Mass coming off the flu, going to the hospital. He's not feeling super great. They had other guys who have kind of been in and out of the lineup, so they've had some injuries as well. But you can't really point to an injury and say it didn't work for him because Illinois has Colin Boswell out as well. So, and I'm not saying Nebraska is. I think a lot of Nebraska fans were giving Illinois their credit and saying they're a really good basketball team. But this Nebraska team has a very favorable schedule to end the season. You look at the schedule, really the only team that I think teams they could lose to, they get Purdue at home. But that Purdue team, they looked really good today against Maryland. More on them here soon. They looked really good today against Maryland. But again, that's Maryland, right? They're not exactly great this season. And they go on the road to Iowa. Those are your two toughest games to end the year. On the road to Iowa, who's a good team, don't get me wrong, not a Big Ten contender, and then home against Purdue, who is a very good team, but they're also a game or two out of the Big Ten right now, and so they're going to need some help in order to get back into it. So this is a very interesting situation because Nebraska, one of the easier schedules. Now they're not playing like the bottom half of the Big Ten, like that one person on CBS was talking about. I don't know where CBS gets some of these announcers and like analysts and stuff like that. It seems like CBS has like one analyst a week, whether it's basketball or football, that comes on and says something that's like, no, that's not true. Why are you saying that? And don't get me wrong, Fox has had him too. That Bear dude. Boy, I listened to his podcast a couple times. He got a lot of things right. And I get stuff wrong too. Like it happens, but just it's like it's not like you're like getting the starting long snapper's name wrong. It's like you're getting some of the easiest stuff out there, the biggest talking points about the conference out there wrong, which is kind of mind-boggling to me. But it is what it is. But this Nebraska team, they really need Ranked Mass to be completely healthy. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to hit any shots today. They didn't have a down low presence against this Illinois team. Everybody wants to talk about the 5 out for Nebraska, which is fantastic, but you still need to have a game inside the paint. And they just didn't have a response to some of Illinois' length and everything that they were able to have in the paint today. And you would have thought at home Nebraska would shoot better from outside, but I don't have concerns about Nebraska. I think they're still going to end the season very well. But I think they're going to need help to win the Big Ten if they're going to make that happen. You look at Illinois. I think Illinois has a much, I wouldn't say, yeah, they have a tougher schedule to end the season than Nebraska does, but they still have a lot of winnable games on theirs as well. I mean, home against Oregon, home against Northwestern, those are wins for sure. But your two games that are kind of questionable at this point, away against Michigan State, home against Michigan, I would say that, away against Michigan State, obviously more difficult than away against Iowa. And then that home against Michigan, obviously more difficult than home against Purdue, just with the way the teams have looked this season and everything. So tougher end of the schedule there for Illinois, but those games don't come until, Michigan State's next week, and then Michigan is at the end of February. So we'll see how it ends out there. Next team in the Big Ten title race, and I'm not going to spend as much time on these teams because we kind of already talked about them a little bit. Michigan, they have the top odds to win the national championship for Big Ten teams. Not seeing the odds for the Big Ten to win come out yet because Iowa's still playing, but they are second behind Arizona. I think Arizona's plus 400 last time I checked, and Michigan is plus 500. Arizona plus 440. They have the top odds to win the national championship. Michigan is second at plus 500, followed by Duke at plus 600. So Michigan in a very good spot right now. Their defense, their lineup, Dusty May continues to go with really tall, really big guys down low. A lot of people thought that Illinois was going to suffer from losing Morez Johnson this season, and it did stink to lose him, but it felt like, that was just more of an ad for Michigan than it was for, a loss for Illinois right now. And he's playing really good ball. Ade Mara looks like he's playing some of the best ball of his career. He gets into foul trouble against Michigan State, and he's still able to come back, play really disciplined ball, stay in the game. I think he only ended that game with 3 fouls, which is pretty spectacular for a team like Michigan State, who's normally going to go after a guy like that, right? And then I think everything for this Michigan team kind of lies on the shoulders of Elliott Cadeau. because I do think that if Miss Michigan team has a weakness, it's guard play. But saying that's their weakness is like, saying something really good about another team is a weakness, right? Like it's still really good. Elliott Cadeau is a good player, but the lack of outside shooting and the lack of guard play at times could be what ends up being the demise for Michigan. I don't see that happening anytime soon. If it did happen, I think it would probably happen in like the Elite Eight or the Final Four, because at this point, we're not talking about like, oh, is Michigan gonna, do something bad against, I don't know who they have on their schedule. Are they gonna do something bad against, Illinois or something like that? Not Illinois. Illinois is really good. Are they gonna do something bad against Ohio State or Iowa? Right? Even if they do something bad in that game, they should have enough talent. But they do have Duke on a neutral court to end the season. Purdue away, Illinois away. Just talked about how Illinois is going to face them. So Michigan has a pretty tough road to end the season. And we're going to see what they're made of. Team that's tied for second, Michigan State. They have Michigan away to end the season. That's going to be tough. And they're going to have to figure out some things on offense. With how they looked on offense against Michigan, a lot of turnover issues. The defense was not what you thought it would be, because they just didn't have the offense to lean on. Felt like they were pressing on defense the entire time. And they've got a really tough stretch to end the season. I mean, they're going to have to go to Assembly Hall, play Indiana. They're going to have to go to Mackey Arena, play Purdue, go to Michigan, right? Illinois, they have at home, but still Illinois. That's a team that just went into Nebraska and won. So that's not a given by any means. You get Wisconsin away, right? I mean, you're playing, what is it, 4 of the top 6 teams in the conference right now, 3 of them away. And you're playing Indiana away on the road. So really tough stretch here to end the season for Michigan State. We'll see what they're made of. They got to figure out some of their offensive stuff. They got to cut down on the turnovers, and especially their big men. Carson Cooper and Jackson Kohler have made huge strides, and I give all the credit to them. But they when they work through their big men, it's not the most reliable thing in the world for their offense. So, all right, last team here, and then I'll get you guys' thoughts in the comments. Purdue. Purdue looked really good today against Maryland. Really good. Fletcher Lawyer, bounce back game. That's fantastic. But if I'm a Purdue fan, I'm like, where was this? Right? Where was this against UCLA? Where was this against Illinois? Where was this against Indiana? Right? Now, maybe it was the player team meeting. I don't know. Braden Smith talked about that on his podcast a little bit. Maybe it's the player team meeting that just did it. Whatever. I don't know. But I do think that Trey Coffin-Wren, with whatever's going on with his hip, that is hindering him a little bit. But Daniel Jacobson played well against Maryland, especially at the end of that game. And that was kind of, garbage time. So I'm not going to take anything super out of it. But if they can get Daniel Jacobson to give him some really good minutes, that's going to be important for them. And if they can get Trey Coffin-Wren in there at the 5, that's going to be important, especially when they go up against more athletic teams. Because you saw in that Illinois game, Oscar Clough, all they had to do was switch Oscar Clough onto Keaton Wagler, and it was over, right? If you're going to continue to switch out there, teams are going to hunt that matchup all day long. And a team like Indiana, who went crazy shooting against you, you just didn't have a response shooting-wise. Braden Smith tried to do it himself, but he's good. He's one of the best point guards in the country, if not the best. Hesitate to say that with Keaton Wagler. Look at us, see us right now. But he can't do it all by himself. They got the win over Maryland today. It's a huge confidence boost. It's what they needed. We'll see if it continues on for him. But Purdue to end the season here, home against Michigan, it's a tough game. On the road against Nebraska, it's a tough game. Iowa, they're on the road against them. And then don't sleep on that game on the road to Ohio State. Look, Ohio State lost to Wisconsin, and I'm not happy with the Buckeyes right now, okay? But Jake Diebler's got Matt Painter's number, all right? He's beaten Matt Painter a number of times. And I don't know. Maybe Matt Painter will come with revenge and they'll blow him out. I don't know. But this Ohio State team does have talent. They can put it together. Just like that Iowa team has talent. They can put it together. And you got Michigan State. Now, you got Michigan State at home. But still, those are some pretty tough games there to end the season. If Ohio State actually had a home court, advantage, that'd be really tough. But, of course, nobody goes to Ohio State games. So they don't really have much of a home court advantage. So, Philip says, need a live Big Ten power ranking show. Yeah, I do need to do that. I should have done that tonight. Good suggestion, Philip. I'll think about that for next Sunday. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow night. If you guys see a scheduled live stream, see that. John says UCLA and Sky Clark hosting the fight online. Yes, that is true, John. UCLA, when they get Sky Clark back, that's going to be huge. And I really like the fight of that UCLA team against Indiana at UCLA. It was a heartbreaker that UCLA lost that game. But I think this UCLA team is gonna bounce back. You know, they got that good win against Purdue. Donovan Dent playing well. Tyler Bilodeau. It's kind of like when Tyler Bilodeau went out in that Indiana game. That's when things kind of fell apart, right? You just didn't have the scoring with him. Trent Perry did a good job. He hit that 3 to send it into overtime and everything else. Or was it double overtime that he sent it to, or just overtime? I can't remember. But yeah, they got to get Sky Clark back. He's going to be huge for him once they can get his back. All right, you guys are really wanting the Big Ten power ranking show. So Philip says, I don't know about Washington. Not sure Sprinkle is going to get it going. Not a big Sprinkle guy. I think that Washington actually has a lot of talent on that team. I don't think they operate well. I don't think that they use them on offense very well, and I don't think he gets the buy-in on defense. Now, he did bring a lot of those guys in through the transfer portal, and typically when you do that, you need a really good culture of guys to be around him. But yeah, so I don't know. Just not a huge Sprinkle guy. So make Kent come out of retirement, Philip says. I was texting with him the other day, and he said that he would like to come on and talk basketball at some point. So I'll try to give you guys a heads up before that happens, though, so that way you guys know. All right. Last thing here. John says Sprinkle is just as good as Iowa's basketball head coach, and Washington has more NIL than Iowa. I think Ben McCollum is a better head coach, in my opinion. I'm not going to say you're wrong, John, because I respect your opinion. You obviously do your research. You come in here with a lot of good things to say. So I'm going to rethink that because you said that. But my first reaction is I think Ben McCollum's a better head coach than Danny Sprinkle. But Danny Sprinkle had good success outside of the Power Four. You know, over there, Utah State, they were really good. But you could also make kind of a similar argument with Nico Medved. And I think Minnesota is going to be really good moving forward with Nico Medved. Are they going to win the Big Ten? No, I don't think so. But for Minnesota standards, I think they're going to be really good. I think they found kind of their PJ Fleck for football in Nico Medved. And I think he's going to send a few guys to the NBA from there. So, yeah, you're right, John. He won at Utah State. He did. I kind of look at Iowa's team, and they seem like they're a little bit more fundamentally sound at times, and it feels like they have less talent and they're doing more with it. Now, maybe I'm off on that, but I feel like Iowa has less talent and they're doing more than Washington, who has more talent, is doing less. That's just my opinion, though. I'll go back and look at it and try to look it up because I trust your opinion there, John.